Be sure to catch the next episode of Just Talking It Up on iTunes, Stitcher, your favorite podcast app, or on the web at bigbrainsmedia.com.
Hey, you forgot our names.
No.
You did. You forgot our names.
Don't be silly. I'm Janet, your Crash, see?
She's just like a goose. She wakes up in a new world every day.
This is the afternoon edition of the Weather Xtreme video. This is for Tuesday, the 18th of December. We are 1 week away from Christmas Day. We've got some active weather to talk about with two potentially major storm systems over the next 7 days. Let's take a look at the Skycam shots this afternoon. Beautiful day today. First off, coming from Decatur. Nice look there at the Tennessee River on a sunny December afternoon. Let's cross the state line. Let's look at the Skycam at the Comfort Suites in Starkville, Mississippi on Russell Street, looking back to the east over toward Scott Field. And way down south, ooh, that's nice. You know, we're at the lowest sun angle of the year, the winter solstice, 3 days away. The shortest amount of daylight. That's our Gulf Shore Skycam on top of the Phoenix All Suites. A beautiful, beautiful day today, 1 week from Christmas. Very dry air in place, sunny weather here, but notice the trough coming into California, and that is going to kick up a big fuss in coming days. Let's take a look at the temperatures, and we've got readings mostly in the upper 50s and low 60s. 56 at Cullman. The cool spots up at Fort Payne and Huntsville, they're sitting at 55. And around the nation, notice the colder air beginning to dive down into the Rockies in the wake of that storm. And they're going to have a big snow out there in Denver probably tomorrow. In fact, a huge snowstorm coming up all the way from the mountains of Nevada, Utah, Colorado, out across the plains. Look at the blizzard warning for parts of Kansas and the plains of Colorado. Winter storm watches and warnings up through Omaha, Des Moines, Madison, Milwaukee, and Green Bay. It's going to be a lot of snow through there. High winds over West Texas. And, of course, down here, we're in the warm sector. That means a severe weather potential tomorrow night. A risk of severe weather over much of Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, up into Missouri. And again, most of that will be tomorrow night. And then on Thursday, the risk is primarily for the southern half of Alabama. But I sure can't rule out the chance of a few strong to severe storms up this way Thursday morning. The main threat will be from strong straight-line winds. We'll take a detailed look at that. Hey, a new product here. HPC is doing a 7-day now. This is not a 5-day. This is a 7-day precipitation chart. So this carries us through Christmas morning, Tuesday morning of next week, and this is showing rain amounts of about 3/4 of an inch here. And that would be, of course, mainly Thursday morning. And then another big system is due in here near or just after Christmas. And we'll kind of take these things one at a time. Let's look at the GFS. This is the Global Forecast System. Valid at 12 noon tomorrow, the 12Z run, and this is at 500 millibars. There's your big trough in the west. Down below that, that surface low beginning to fire near Gage, Oklahoma, with a big snowstorm potentially for Denver and much of the mountains of Colorado. And what that's going to do at low is going to move northeast, and of course along and just north of that surface low, it's going to be a big snowstorm. Thursday, there's your big trough, and needless to say, there's very good dynamic support for storms here. That's the surface chart. We've got a 987 millibar low at Chicago. Potential for big snow just north and west of there up toward Milwaukee and over toward the Quad Cities. And the trailing front comes in here. And I still think the main window for storms about 3 a.m. until noon Thursday. This is the 4-kilometer NAM at 9 o'clock local time Thursday morning. And that is what the radar reflectivity should look like. And you can see the back edge of the squall line running from near Athens down to about Fayette and just west of Tuscaloosa. And that'll work its way through the state. And again, more than likely, the issue is going to be strong straight-line winds. But let's take a look at the parameters here. First off, this is the instability, the surface-based CAPE, and there's not much. When you start to see the shades of green, that's when the instabilities are over 750 joules per kilogram. And so the instability values here are under 500 joules. But in the cool season, you can have severe weather with numbers like that. But that's your main limiting factor, obviously, in the time of day, the fact that it's coming through during the early morning hours. Shear numbers are very high, though. This is the very low-level shear, bulk shear from the surface to 925 millibars. That's over 30 knots through much of Alabama. So indeed, there could be a small spin-up tornado within that line somewhere. You know, keep in mind we had the EF1, In Birmingham, North Birmingham, back on December 10th, same kind of deal, so we'll have to watch things carefully, but those are almost impossible to warn for. This is the Energy Helicity Index, and you really want to see that at 1 or higher, and the 1 values are down in the Gulf, and again, the reason for the lower numbers, it's the lack of instability. And finally, this is the projected sounding at 6 a.m., Thursday, and again down there in those lower gates you can see how the winds veer from the southeast at the surface around to the west, and that's again just something to watch. So no change in our thinking. A squall line 3 a.m. probably till noon Thursday morning. Main threat, strong straight line winds, an isolated tornado not out of the question. Rain amounts probably 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. All right, Friday. It's going to be cold. We should be in the look at the cold air advection. I mean, that's cold right there. Should be in the 20s to start the day. The GFS has us at 28. And again, I don't think we can see 50. More than likely, the high should be in the upper 40s, but at least the sun will be out, but it's going to be a pretty chilly wind. Saturday morning is going to be cold. We could easily see mid-20s to start the weekend. But the day will be sunny. Temperatures peaking in the middle 50s, and that's not too far from where we should be for this time of the year. And then Sunday, again, I think in the morning we'll have a freeze. Lows upper 20s to near 30. The high Sunday may be approaching 60, and the sky will stay sunny. All right, a lot of traveling going on Christmas week. Let's just show you the big maps, pick out your destination, see how you're doing. This is Christmas Eve. Moisture begins to return. Showers could break out over North Alabama and points west, nothing heavy. Big snows are possible for the mountains of Montana and Idaho, and cold air up there. Christmas Day, this is 12 noon, a warm front beginning to lift north. And if this is right, that would be a wet Christmas day. Not really stormy. You know, ahead of the warm front, it should be cool and stable and just wet. And this is suggesting we could see rain amounts over 1.5 inches on Christmas Day. But once the warm front pulls north of us, we get into the unstable air, and that's when you could see some severe weather. But again, if this is right, the big low is developing around the Four Corners. Big snows for the Rockies on Christmas Day. But for us, just cool and wet is the way it looks now. The next day, December 26th, an incredibly strong trough off to the west. Down below that, that surface low winds up like a top. It ramps up near Little Rock down to 994 millibars. We are clearly in the warm sector, howling south winds, and potential for severe weather. And this is early Thursday morning of next week, December the 27th. And again, that's just nasty looking. So the GFS a tad slower. This is suggesting, yes, severe weather could be a big issue around the middle of next week. It would not be Christmas Day. Maybe it would be Wednesday night the 26th into Thursday morning the 27th. So just be aware of that. And very cold air floods in behind that. On the 28th, the GFS really doesn't bring the cold air in here, but boy, the European does. Let's look at the European solution. Now, it's different. It's got a big storm. This is Christmas Day, and the European has us in the warm sector Christmas Day with a chance of showers and strong storms. So if you believe the GFS, Christmas Day would be just kind of cool and wet. If you believe the European, Christmas Day could be mild and stormy. And look at the cold air diving in behind that. And then on the 27th, the 540 line drops all the way down to Mobile. Very cold air. Again, if that's right, we'd have a hard time getting above the freezing mark on Thursday, December 27th. So the idea is clearly there. Big storms, maybe severe weather, anywhere from Christmas night until the 26th. And then we turn sharply colder. But I just don't want to get into details with this storm until we get the Thursday system out of here. You just can't do that. We've got to take them one at a time. We'll check the 1st of January, New Year's Day. Ooh, boy. Hey, how about a New Year's Day snowstorm for Little Rock and Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and maybe Paducah, Kentucky, if this is right. Of course, we all know it's in the land of voodoo. And the forecast on January 3rd, we're dry there. One final chart. This is the projected snow depth by the GFS at midday Christmas Day. Are you dreaming of a white Christmas? Well, pick your destination and see how you're going to do. Obviously, it's not happening here, but some folks out west could be buried in snow with all this active weather going on. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video this afternoon. We'll have notes in the blog. Next video here by 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. And don't forget to watch us on ABC 3340 News at 4, 5, 6, and 10 on the live stream or the television side. Thanks for watching. Have a great evening, and God bless. Who's got time to listen to boring radio shows? If you're going to listen to something good, like Eavesdrop.
my favorite thing about Christmas is not the presents.
No.
And it's not the million Christmas parties. And it's not playing Dirty Santa. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's about relationships.
I know. I know exactly where you're going with that, yeah.
It just is.
It is.
And take the time. What if this is your last Christmas and you never know?
Just talking it up.
They may use the name Jesus in a terrible way when they hit their thumb with a, with a hammer by accident on Saturday afternoon when they're working on their car. But don't bring Jesus into a song and give him a beer. That ain't right.
Hey, I know a few of those folks myself.
Bama Talk Show.
But before we head for the Dome, we got business to take care of at home. So making plans for the throwdown in downtown Atlanta will have to wait until that post-game rammer jammer rings in the postseason for Bama and the offseason for the Barn.
Auburn Unleashed.
That magical score that Auburn fans remember, 17-16, came out of that game. And Bill Newton was responsible for the chant, punt, Bama, punt. Bill, thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Adam. I appreciate y'all having me as the first guest on your show.
Worldview Matters.
And we've been talking about a number of things. Last couple of times we talked about socialism. We moved from Islam to socialism, and we were going to continue today to do the same thing. But a lot of things have happened in the world in the past 10 days. It's heated up again in Israel. So I thought it'd be a good chance for us to talk about some of the things that relate to worldview as it relates to the Israeli situation and Egypt and all that's going on in the Mideast.
High school heroes.
And the plane goes right through the bridge and doesn't catch on fire. It's tons of stuff, man. Tons of unrealistic stuff, but hey, it was really cool, actually.
Warning, any of these shows can be addictive, and they are all fun. Listen on iTunes, Stitcher, your favorite podcast app, or on the web at bigbrainsmedia.com.